Tensions across the Middle East are exploding tonight as Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claims a wave of powerful missile and drone strikes across the region. According to Iranian officials, multiple strategic military targets linked to the United States and Israel have been hit in a series of coordinated attacks. The IRGC says one of its major targets was the al-Azraq Air Base in Jordan, also known as Muwaffaq Salti Air Base, which is described by Tehran as the largest and most active offensive hub used by American fighter jets in the region. Iran claims the base was struck in several consecutive rounds of attacks, targeting critical infrastructure supporting U.S. military operations. At the same time, Iranian missiles reportedly struck military assets in the Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Beersheba. Tehran says the strikes were carried out using Khaybar missiles, the nickname for the powerful Khorramshahr-4 ballistic missile, which is believed to carry super-heavy warheads designed for maximum destruction. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard says these attacks are only the beginning. In a statement carried by Iranian media, the IRGC warned that the volume and depth of Iranian military strikes will expand in the coming hours and days. Additionally, the United Arab Emirates says it has come under a massive Iranian missile and drone assault. According to the UAE's foreign ministry, more than 1,400 missiles and drones were launched toward infrastructure and civilian sites. Officials described the attack as brutal and unjustified, calling it a serious violation of international law and the United Nations Charter. The UAE says the strikes targeted critical infrastructure and caused an unspecified number of casualties. The IRGC has warned regional governments that any country allowing the United States or Israel to launch attacks from its territory will continue to face Iranian retaliation. Meanwhile, military activity across the region is intensifying. Meanwhile, reports indicate that a U.S. aerial refueling aircraft was seen taking off from Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, believed to be supporting bombing operations against Iranian targets. In another sign of widening instability, a powerful explosion was heard in Erbil, the capital of Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region. The cause of the blast remains unclear, but the incident is raising fears that the conflict could spill further across Iraq. According to an Iraqi source speaking to Iranian media outlet Fars News, an Iranian drone targeted the al-Harir Air Base in northern Iraq late last night. The base, located near Erbil in Iraq's Kurdistan region, hosts American military forces and plays a strategic hub for U.S. forces operating in Iraq and the wider Middle East. The source claims the drone strike directly hit a vital U.S. radar installation, part of the base's early warning defense network. Witnesses say the radar system caught fire and burned for more than an hour after the impact. If confirmed, the damage could significantly weaken the base's early detection capability against incoming missiles and drones. The source also suggested that the aircraft used in the strike appeared to belong to a new generation of Iranian drones, though this claim has not yet been independently verified. Al-Harir Air Base has been a strategic hub for U.S. forces operating in Iraq and the wider Middle East.
Fully prepared for at least a 6-month war at the current pace. That is the warning coming from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. An IRGC spokesperson says Tehran has deliberately held back many of its most advanced weapons and has not yet used missiles manufactured in the past decade. According to the IRGC spokesperson, most of the missiles used so far in the ongoing conflict were produced between 2012 and 2014. Iranian officials say this means the country's newer missile systems, developed over the last 10 years, remain largely untouched and could potentially be deployed in later phases of the war.
In terms of weaponry, strategy, and tactics, we possess the initiative. We have an arsenal of heavy missiles, including ballistic and cruise missiles, various types of drones, and offensive vessels. All these are designed and prepared for a widespread war, an all-out conflict, a prolonged engagement. It has been provided. Our capable and mighty armed forces, the powerful Islamic Republic, possess complete and full readiness, at a minimum, to engage in a full-scale, high-intensity war that could last for at least 6 months, maintaining this very current operational rhythm and pace. The missiles that we have utilized up to this point are primarily from the first and second generations. They were predominantly manufactured in the years 1991, 92, and 93, and in the last 10 years we have absolutely not utilized any of the newly produced items, despite the fact that production in recent years has multiplied several times over. Between the 12-day war and the Ramadan war, several years' worth of missiles were produced.
The warning comes as Iran continues its retaliatory campaign against U.S. military facilities across the Middle East. Iranian forces have launched missile and drone strikes following the large-scale U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iranian territory that began on February 28th. In one of the latest incidents, Iran reportedly carried out an attack on the U.S. al-Harir helicopter base in Kuwait. Initial military assessments suggest a limited number of missiles were fired during the strike, though the full extent of damage remains unclear. The attack followed earlier Iranian strikes targeting American military infrastructure in the Gulf, including a reported assault on a U.S. naval facility in Bahrain. These back-to-back operations indicate that Tehran may be pursuing a sustained strategy aimed at pressuring U.S. forces stationed throughout the region. The wider conflict began when the United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes on Iranian targets, an operation that Iranian officials say killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and several senior military commanders. Tehran has since vowed to respond with what it calls decisive retaliation.